the son of a dream looking to realize his destiny in WWE. Multiple tag team and intercontinental championship reigns during his first run here in WWE. But now that the prodigal son has returned, Cody Rhodes has reached main event status.
The following is scheduled for one fall, making his way to the ring from Atlanta, Georgia, weighing in at 220 pounds, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes!
Gentlemen, WrestleMania has just become undeniable. After 6 years away from WWE,
こんにちは、皆さん。I'm Great Oka Unite Empire。今日は試合があった。そして彼がエンパイアの応援してくれるんですよ。みんな、ブローケンテーブルポッドキャストよろしく。
Yeah, hear the battle cry under the devil's sky. The one-winged angel screams. It fuels my hopes and dreams. The best
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Broken Tables podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Vegas, here as always with our reigning, defending Broken Predictions champion and co-host, King Rome. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Now, before we get into the show, I was about to say, before we go live, as you know, the King's Court Invitational is coming up next month. And, Jeff, I just want to let you know that you are one of the, obviously one of the pillars of this podcast. You don't win a lot, but obviously you're here week in and week out. And that's commendable. So, Jeffrey Vegas, sir, you are the first invitation to the King's Court Invitational.
First entrant. Let's go. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us here tonight for our AEW Dynamite review. Going to start off with a couple of things in the wrestling world here first. Obviously, some news was going around of CM Punk showing up at a WWE Raw on Monday. And we're just going to kind of throw you guys the real reason why Punk was there, He just so happened to be doing some commentary for his MMA fighting that he does. He was on a trip back to Chicago on the same plane as some of the WWE talent. Somebody got the good idea to invite him to the show. And I think he realized that, after 10 years of being away, what better time to actually make this trip back, because he was invited, when he's about to be making his big return for a new show, with AEW. What better time would it have been?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. Look, man, I think that this story was something that was kind of really blown out of proportion. I find it hilarious that CM Punk did just kind of show up at Raw, and then he got in. That is pretty funny. But no,
That's
I mean,
wild.
Mark Henry kind of commented on it. I think the way Mark put it was best, is like, look, man, like, people show up backstage at things all the time, like there's WWE guys show up backstage at AEW because they have friends, and vice versa. Like,
I said the same thing, I wrote all that down. I wrote down like Andrade's always backstage at the E, even when he was back here with AEW. Malachi Black was at the Hall of Fame ceremony on camera. You know what I mean? It's not a huge deal, but being the first time that Punk has been back there in 10 years, I think it was a little bit of a big deal, but only in the aspect of, Punk's coming back, and I think he realized, hey, this is definitely gonna ruffle some feathers and make the news, So if anything, I think that's all it was.
I think so, but I also do think that there is, to some extent, based off how the story goes of him being backstage, I do think that he went there with the purpose of making peace with some people. Apparently, he had a
Yeah,
nice conversation with the Miz. Um, not the first time in
he's
10
got
years.
to get that practice in on squashing some beef, before he does it with the Elite for real.
Well, I think he's already done it with the Elite. But I
Yeah,
mean, regardless, I think he's in a place now where, you know, Ed's going to disagree, but I don't care. I think he's in a place where he's looking at this stuff, and if the brawl out was a shoot, which it probably was, and he's making amends with the Elite, he's probably kind of looking at a lot of things in retrospect. I would imagine he may have, he had problems with Vince and the company itself, but I don't know. I think they were in his neck of the woods. He ran into some friends. They were like,
yeah,
"Hey, why don't you come with us to Monday night? It's in your backyard. Come stop by." And
yeah. I just think it was, all that stuff put together. Great chance to give himself a little bit of promotion before he makes his comeback. No big deal.
right.
Uh, next one up, WWE and Vince McMahon being sued for basically racism against their only black writer at the time. What do you think of this story, man?
First of all, what's up to Sabak? He is in the chat tonight. What's up,
Hey, what's
Sabak?
up to everybody in chat? We got the Coog, we got Ed, Sabak. Welcome everybody.
So, I mean, I don't want to say that like it's a place of indifference. I mean, at this point, it's like you either understand that Vince McMahon and many in the top echelon of the company are racist pieces of crap, or you don't. I mean, to see how certain members of the Fed-run media have responded to this, and by responded, I mean not responded. It's all you got to say. I mean, like you talk about like Louis Dangor, and like last week he's talking about how he made this big deal about Commander and like all the luchadors and all the high flying stuff. And then this week he's just like, I'm not even gonna touch this.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm like,
just crickets.
nah, man, it's gross. And just like it, I saw a lot of discourse on Twitter, and it really kind of is at that point. So maybe it's not necessarily apathy, but it's just like it's reaching the levels of parody. It's racism to the point of parody, where it's like they really pitched a storyline 20 years after 9/11 where Mansoor was going to be like he was behind 9/11. Like this was
Yeah.
pitched. Um and then of course there was also stuff about Bianca Belair being constantly asked by Kevin Dunn and others to, to do, say some racist stuff and kept shooting them down. I don't know, man. It's just like, look, if you're going to keep defending the company, if you're going to keep going
Yeah.
back, you know,
And obviously all of this is alleged at the time, but man, it's just all this stuff just keeps stacking up more and more and more. It's just like, how can you keep the guy there? Like, if I was at the top of Endeavor, if I had anybody paying attention to like the heartbeat of the wrestling world, I'd be like, we got to get this dude out of here. We got to at least stop him from sitting back there in his secret lair and changing Monday Night Raw from his, from whatever secret cave he's sitting in. Like, the dude rewrote the show again on Raw, scrapped just about every women's segment. I don't know, man.
Dana White gets to physically abuse his wife in public and they didn't do anything. You think they're going to do something to Vince? No. Jerry
Yeah,
McDevitt is going
true.
to cut a check to this writer. The case is going to get settled out of court, and that'll be it. And then we'll just move on and until the next time that Vince McMahon is racist or the company is sexist
Yeah.
or misogynist. We'll just keep going until the next thing happens. It's just like
But he's also managed to piss off the entire women's locker room again. Scrapped a bunch of women's segments, and he shoved in a nonsensical match of the Street Profits versus it was the former Hurt Business, Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. It just didn't even make any sense. Like, where'd that match come from? You scrapped a women's segment for that? Like, okay, I don't know, whatever. But let's get into our AEW Dynamite review here for tonight. We started off with our AEW International Championship, Orange Cassidy with his 20th defense of the title versus Bandido. And man, this match kicked so much ass, dude. I enjoyed every single second of this match, man. I mean, the part where Bandido was doing his finger guns and Cassidy grabbed his guns and put them in his pockets. And you even made it better in Discord, being like, the guns have been holstered. Like, this was so good. So good.
Well, also, I enjoyed that the other time Bandido did the gun thing, Cassidy put his hands up. Like, 'cause it's like,
Oh, he did put his hands up. Wow. So good, dude.
Oh yeah, this was absolutely excellent. This was just an excellent match. It's great that Bandido is going to be back, on a more regular basis now that the visa issue's been figured out.
Yes.
So like, look, I'm just going to say it. I'm officially there. I think Orange Cassidy's international title reign, and you can obviously the All Atlantic / international. I don't know if there's a better title run in AEW history.
I agree with you. I think this is AEW's best title reign so far.
I mean, like 20 defenses, almost every match. The only match that I could looking back on, that I have not like really been into, like we're talking like 4.5 stars plus, is the one against Butcher, and I just think that Butcher just couldn't keep up. So I'm not going to put that on Cassidy, but at the same time, that's the only match that comes to mind out of the 20 that I don't really vibe with.
Yeah.
But so I think that's just really it's incredible. And I loved this match. I love the finish of the match. I love them changing it up, where Cassidy goes up into the air with the Superman punch when he comes down.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, he punched down. It was crazy.
So Bandido went for that. It's like a pop-up cutter. He did it once early in the match and hit it, but only got the 2 count. And then he tried it again, and Orange Cassidy countered it with that orange punch. That was sick. He had to be like 10 feet up in the air. It looked like he jumped off the top ropes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I have to love this match. It's obviously, as always, great to start off the show with Orange Cassidy. It was an excellent match. Love the finish. Love it all. Love the post-match stuff.
Oh.
What more can you say?
Absolutely. So yeah, Orange Cassidy picks up the win with a huge orange punch while coming down from the pop-up. He also hits the beach break for the 1, 2, 3, and he gets his 20th title defense. Yeah, I'm not sure of any title reigns I can think of that were better than his. I really enjoyed Darby's original TNT title run. Maybe that would kind of rival it here for me, but this is definitely a run for the ages for AEW right now.
Says that Orange Cassidy's title reign hasn't consisted of storylines. I would disagree. I would push back. I mean, obviously it started with Pac, and then he's feuded with Kip. He's feuded with Jeff Jarrett and his boys. He's feuded with, like he said, the hand thing. Like there's been storylines in like throughout the reign. Now, have there been like one-off? Yeah, like the 3-way dance with Vance and Roosh. But that was more of a Roosh and Vance storyline than a Orange Cassidy storyline. So there was a storyline in that too, technically.
Yeah, but also his thing is like he doesn't care. So it's also like part of the story of like they can throw anybody at him, and he's just like, "Cool, let's do this."
Yeah, he shows up. It's like, Tony, book it.
Yeah, remember that time at the bar? That was perfect. He was like, "Tony, book it." You know what I mean? That is the storyline. Is he doesn't care who you throw at him. Go ahead.
Yeah, but again, I mean, there have been storylines. I mean, the Kip storyline had to do with best friends kind of distancing themselves from Orange Cassidy, and like he was trying to cause beef between the two of them. Like he's been facing adversity as a character. Again, with the hand thing, the best friends thing. Obviously,
I do see what Ed's saying about the length of some of the feuds, though. They could be a little longer. I do see that, but I think the International is supposed to be like boom, boom, boom. Let's keep throwing this thing around.
Yeah, but Tony doesn't want to sit there and book a champion in tag matches every week, and he also doesn't want to book a champion to defend the title multiple times against the same guy. So, like, you already have other titles that are going through more longer term storylines. So, I mean, yeah, I guess I see the criticism there, but I mean, to me, that's a matter of you would prefer this title reign to have more longer going storylines. It doesn't need.
And I do want to ask chat, everybody, what is your favorite championship reign of any belt in AEW since their creation? I'd like to know what your guys' opinion is on that one. Next up, we had Renee Paquette with Adam Cole. He basically just says he's gonna call out Jericho. And he kind of walks off screen, and Orange Cassidy and Bandido walk into the screen. That was great, both wearing the Orange Cassidy sunglasses. And he was like, "Oh, did you want to interview us after our match?" And Renee's kind of like, "No, we're good." And he's just like, "Oh, okay." And then Bandido says the same thing. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it.
Yeah, it was great. They show up. Obviously Bandito still has the glasses on, and he's like, "Oh," and Bandito is also like, "Oh."
Yeah. My only critique of that is it made a little bit of a joke of what Adam Cole had just said, but that's just nitpicking there.
You could separate a little bit because Adam Cole had walked off.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, next up we had Renee again with Jungle Boy and Darby. Darby's face paint tonight looked absolutely incredible. I loved Darby's face paint here. This was a little odd to me. I enjoyed it, but after this whole week of a lot of people saying that last promo from Darby and Jungle Boy, they kind of were out of character, talking shit on each other a little bit. That's not really how those guys usually act. So this almost felt like they were trying to correct that. And they said, "Oh yeah, we both went a little too far. We shouldn't have said some of that stuff." I did enjoy this though. I thought it was a good promo by both of them. And I thought it was a decent segment.
So number one, I just want to point out that this is the second week in a row where we have one wrestler saying to another wrestler that they just want to squash the beef.
Yep.
Just pointing that out there. So yeah, I don't think that what happened last week was out of character. I don't agree with that criticism. I think that at the end of the day, they're all the four pillars who want to be the champion. So even the baby faces should butt heads to an extent. But it makes sense for Darby and Jack to also at the same time. There's dynamic here. It's character dynamic. It's like, hey, look, we're not friends and we're not going to be friends, but at the end of the day, like, we should have each other's backs because right now we're outnumbered.
Yep, I agree. All right, next up we had Jeff Jarrett versus Dax Harwood from FTR. I knew the outcome of this match before it even began. Like, Dax doesn't win his singles matches very often, especially against somebody who has a team of guys that can cast their distraction. But this was, I gotta say it, this was not a great match to me. There was a couple of spots where, you could definitely see they weren't in sync. It got better towards the end, I'll admit, but not the best match I've seen Dax and Jeff put on. I think both these guys need to stick with tag teams.
Just real quick, Ed says, I have a one-track mind. Everything goes back to CM Punk. That's not entirely true. I'm just pointing out things. I've always done this, whether it's about CM Punk or not. You can see me do it during the Elite storyline. So nice try. I just pay attention to the details that I know AEW purposely put out there. So I'm sorry that I look on it on a I'm playing 4D chess while you're still playing 2D checkers.
There's even more later I'll get to. So
I'm sure there's more. This match, I think this was a very old school match.
Yeah, Cook said the same thing there. Yeah,
this went way too long. This should have been like a quick match. I also don't like the placement of this match. This match I would have swapped this and the TBS titles placements on the card. I think that you have an excellent match like Orange Cassidy and Bandido, and then you drum up some hype with Adam Cole, and then you kind of come out here and put this match on. It falls flat. It was exactly what it should have been. I thought the ending was a little wacky. I think you guys all were saying that in the Discord. No, I thought the match fell a little flat. I would have had it go shorter. I also would have had it go where it did. I also would have had Dax win this. But that's just me.
Oh, dude! In the third break, there was a Pizza Hut commercial, and they showed a 2 liter of Pepsi. CM Punk to Pizza Hut confirmed.
Hold on. Well, so I'll just say this. I mean, having some Pizza Hut with CM Punk sounds like a damn fucking good time to me. So I would
Dude,
absolutely be okay with that.
I would pay for that. I would pay
I
for that
would,
to be like a date night. Date
yeah,
night with CM
$100.
Punk at Pizza Hut.
Yeah, let me sit down and just have a pizza with CM Punk. That's all I ask. Like
Yeah,
if I
that
had to
I,
do
I
it,
I can see the headline now. So date night at Pizza Hut with Pepsi Man. There it is. Boom.
yeah, like
Danhausen and CM Punk sitting there eating pizza.
that's what I'm saying. Brody King's there hanging out. That sounds like a good time. Tony,
Oh
you should
yeah.
probably do that.
All right. Well, so Jeff Jarrett's cronies cast distraction on the outside. Jeff Jarrett does wind up hitting the stroke for the 1-2-3, and he defeats Dax Harwood. Like I said, I thought it was pretty predictable here. It did go on a little long, like you said. I agree with that. But the end of the match was pretty decent. They got it together, and the last quarter of that match was pretty good. But uh, next up, we had Tony Khan's announcement. He announced the opening ceremonies for the Owen Hart Cup will start at Double or Nothing in Las Vegas, and they will end in Alberta, Canada on July 15th in Owen Hart's hometown. That is awesome. He said some matches will also take place at Forbidden Door, which I will be at with Purpleness. That should be really, really good. I can't wait.
So just a little pointed out, July 15th, which is the show in Owen's hometown, where the finals will be taking place, is on a Saturday. So it will be a collision episode.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
nice. I didn't even look that up. Okay, so that'll be a Saturday collision episode.
So look, I liked how they painted it. They said Tony Khan has something to say. It wasn't a major announcement. I mean, obviously, people are gonna continue to be disappointed. Tony Khan could say that he bought WWE, and people would be like, that's not really a big announcement. Like that's just how people are with it, and it is what it is. But no, I think that number one, as you know, love a good tournament. So I'm always down for the Owen. Very excited to see it coming back. Um, and I mean, yeah, it's a fun storyline that's going to have some really awesome matches. And at the end of the day, that's pro wrestling, man.
Yeah, and Ed says the Owen Cup is a bit of a meh announcement for him. And my argument to that would be it's not a meh to Tony. You know what I mean? That's a big deal to Tony that he was able to convince Martha Hart to allow all of this to happen, and it's going to continue every year. It's really a big deal to him in AEW. So I get it that to some fans it might not be, but you got to look at it from his point of view.
I completely agree. I mean,
That's a
yeah, like
huge deal.
Martha has refused to put her name into anything wrestling or Owen's name into anything wrestling for ever. So this is a big deal for him, and he wants to treat it with care. And it is a really big deal that it's going to be in Canada. Yeah, I mean, again, it may not be big to you, it may not be big to me, but it's big to him, and it's big to pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And Ed, don't get me wrong. I thought the same thing. I was like, yeah, that's a little bit of a meh announcement, but from AEW's point of view, it is a big announcement.
but again,
Now,
I'll
did they
push back.
did they say big announcement this time? Because they
No.
usually choose their words properly.
They did, and they said we will hear from Tony Khan.
Okay, yeah, he didn't say Tony Khan has a big announcement or anything.
No, he did not. And
Okay.
Ed getting his expectations up, that's on him. That's
Yeah,
not.
you got to look at the wording. Tony will make it known when it's a big announcement. He says, "I got an important announcement or a big announcement or
major announcement. Like
yeah."
they are very specific about it. So yeah.
All right. Next up, no, just something to say. Yeah. Next up, we had Wardlow versus. Did you catch this guy's name? Because I just wrote down some guy.
I really did not catch his name.
Yeah, I didn't catch this guy's name. I thought he looked good. I'd like to see him again, but yeah, obviously this guy just got squashed. And you know what? This crowd loved Wardlow here. He got a massive pop for that Powerbomb Symphony. I think his momentum has come right back. I think maybe it was just this crowd or I don't know, whatever it may be, but it felt like his momentum was back here.
I would chalk that up more so to the entrance. I think that this crowd tonight was terrible. This is a bad crowd, firstly. Because they were flat at almost every moment. Even the debut later in the night that we'll get to, like there was a pop, and it was probably the pop of the night. But even then, I was like, this crowd should be more on their feet for
Yeah,
this debut.
they could have been a little louder.
No, I think that I did note it during in my notes that they did more of a strobe effect, and they turned up his music, and the camera angles were also really good for him. His entrance was very, I would say it was very star caliber entrance in terms of the production.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. It was the best part of all of it. I thought that doing the squash was fine. We'll have to see where it goes. It's back to Wardlow squashing guys. I don't want that to be his TNT title reign, though, so hopefully that's not what it's going to be for a little while. And then Arn Anderson comes out, cuts a promo, and I enjoyed it, but it got to a point kind of like with the Jarrett Dax match where I was just like, all right, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
This is running a little long. The second half of this first hour, not a very good hour, because it was just a lot of like, okay, all right, wrap it up. I felt like you on Monday nights when we go more than 2 hours on the game room. You just like wrap it up. Like we only do one gaming show a week. It's hard to fit it all into 2 hours. We try though. But no, I was like wrapping this up. We gotta get this moving. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It did go on about a minute too long with Arn there, but all of a sudden, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus showed up on the ramp. They made their way to ringside. And, I love this new look for Luchasaurus. He had a little bit of a lawsuit, if you don't know, with his mask and the original creators of the reptile mask that he had used to create his mask. He's gotten all that squared away, though. They've added enough to it, taken away enough from it to where it's completely changed. So it looks like he's good to go to be using this mask, and I love the red color, dude. What do you think of the new burgundy maroonish red color Tony's got?
Dude, Luchasaurus looks so sick.
Hell yeah, he does.
The mask and the shoulder plate and the pants that kind of look like armor. Like, it is such a good look. It is such a good look. I'm into it.
This gets me excited for the Fight Forever game for like some skins, you know what I mean? Like hopefully we get the original Luchasaurus look to start off with, and then we can, maybe do something in the game to obtain his newer look, or I'll even pay for it, I don't care. I like I pay for skins once in a blue moon.
Yeah. They'll probably do stuff like that.
Yeah. So this was nice. I like to see Luchasaurus versus Wardlow here. Now, my only concern here is this is one of those, like, if neither guy should lose, don't book the match. Who do you see winning this feud here? You know what I mean? If we get Luchasaurus versus Wardlow, I don't feel like either one of these guys should be losing a match anytime soon.
I agree. I mean, we have to see where the story goes. I mean, you could do something. I mean, if I had to pick one, I would give the rub to Luchasaurus and have Wardlow do something else. But I understand people don't want the TNT title to be hot shotted around.
Yeah.
Even though that's how it's been booked in the past, few years. I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I mean, let's just, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We could have those two brawl until the ref just like throws the match out, because they don't do stuff like that often. Something of that effect. You know what I mean? Some sort of DQ, both men get counted out, beating each other's asses into the back, something. But
I'll say this. I mean, based off QTV later, I mean, Hobbs isn't done, and something else is going on too. So again, we don't know the whole story yet. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get to that part actually, because I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
All right, so Wardlow does pick this win up with the big old powerbomb symphony. Gets the 1, 2, 3. Arn Anderson on the mic. Luchasaurus comes out. Blah blah blah. All right, next up we had Renee Paquette with Sammy Guevara, and MJF shows up immediately. Oh my God, this was hilarious. So Sammy Guevara has a gift for MJF, and he gives him a nice, beautiful vest. And MJF has a gift for Sammy Guevara, a nice, beautiful Burberry scarf. So I thought this was great. I absolutely love Sammy and MJF together. Actually, I wasn't quite sure when they started this, but I'm already sold on it. I love it.
Dude, this was so good, and it really just it continues to go into what I've been talking about the four pillars, and how there's just layers upon layers of character development here, and I just love it. Sammy and MJF just really bring out the best in each other. It's such a good mix, and like you said, MJF gets the vest, Sammy gets the scarf. They kiss each other on the forehead. He said, "This is your moment." He's like, "No, Max, this is our moment."
This is our moment. Dude, I was dying. I was like, did he just kiss him? I was dying, dude.
They kissed each other.
I was
Yeah,
dying.
this is great, man. This is so good. He goes to shake his hand. He's like, Sammy, friends don't shake hands. Friends hug, and they hug again. Um, it's just so entertaining. It's so entertaining. So good.
All right, and next up we had RJ City. Looked like he was about to do some sort of an interview or make some sort of announcement, but John Moxley came flying out of nowhere and just absolutely obliterated RJ. I did not see this coming, but thank you, John Moxley. Rome, I think you're one of the only ones that knows how I really feel about RJ City. I don't know what it is about him, but when he does his Hey EW shows, I cannot stand him at all. But I love him on the microphone doing interviews with wrestlers. I think he's great on the microphone interviewing. But for whatever reason, that Hey EW show, I can't. I just can't.
I mean, I find RJ City very funny. It's funny because there was some jokes going on online tonight that so there's like a low key feud between Renee and RJ.
Okay.
And so people were like, "Damn, RJ showed up on Dynamite and Renee sent Mox after him."
Oh shit.
So that was really funny. What's up to the coach? Coach is here. Yeah, it was funny. It was entertaining. Um, Mox says it's a big night for the BCC, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah. All right, next up, Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. MJF's music hits and he comes and joins the commentary table with his jar of pickles. And I don't know if you guys saw, but he's got his face on the jar of pickles. You can go to their website and purchase yourself a jar starting tomorrow, I believe at 9 a.m. Actually, I'm gonna try to get a jar. And this was a great match, man. I actually was not expecting this. Well, wait a minute. What am I saying? I was expecting this to be a great match, but I wasn't expecting myself to start cheering Sammy Guevara at one point. You know me, got to put the flip-flops on here now. This Sammy Guevara kicked so much ass in this match, and once again, he forced the crowd to cheer for him, man. Like this was such a good match.
You know what? You continue that thought. Give me 1 second.
Sure. He's probably got like a pair of flip-flops somewhere or something. This table spot. So before this episode of Dynamite tonight, I had posted a video of my first entry into the Broken Table of the Year award, and that was Vikingo going through the table with Kenny Omega. This is going to be entry number 2 into the Broken Table of the Year award. There it is with the flip-flops.
We should put it where it's like a graphic around you, where it's like it's like this.
I can find a pair on Giphy and have them doing something up there. We'll see. But this table spot, it was identical to the table spot that he did against what's his name? Scorpio Sky, where Scorpio Sky rolled out of the way. This time, Darby did not roll out of the way, and Sammy did a 630 splash right through the table outside of the ring. This was incredible. One of my favorite table spots of the year. Dante doesn't get a spot on that list? No, because that spot was fucking dumb. There was no reason for that spot.
What are you making? What is
Have you ever seen that spot before? What's the reason to do a double ladder spot balanced on the ropes, doing a code red through 2 tables on the outside of the ring, dude? I'm sorry. There's no reason
Or
for it.
what's the point of doing any table spot then? Like, Jeff.
Because they're fucking cool and they've been done forever.
Yeah, and so was Dante's spot. Don't invalidate Dante's spot just because he got hurt. Like, come on.
I'm just saying, man, on live TV, you're going to do something you've never done before like that. That's your result. That's all I can say, you know?
This is a terrible take. This is a terrible,
Okay.
terrible take by you. This is awful.
Sure.
Jesus.
But this table spot, I absolutely loved it. This is going up probably tonight, right after the show. Hopefully, I'll have it left in me to do that. Jeff, what's my hat? What do you mean you can't see what my hat is? Come on, it's CM Punk, baby.
I'm not allowed to comment on Jeffrey's hat because then I'm told I have a one-track mind.
We do have a low blow from Sammy onto Darby. Man, Darby, when he did his cutter Darby did his tope to the outside and Sammy turned it into a freaking cutter. That was insane. Somehow Darby got his eyebrow busted open somewhere along the lines there. I didn't see when or where he got busted open, but Darby did get busted open. MJF makes his way down to the ring, grabs the skateboard, tosses it to Darby, and we have Sammy Guevara pulling the Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, and steal, falling down, pretending like he gets hit with the skateboard. The ref sees the skateboard in Darby's hands. And listen here, Darby incriminated himself by throwing the skateboard like, oh, no. That made the ref immediately be like, nope, you're done. Ring the bell. Darby gets disqualified. Sammy Guevara wins. We're having MJF versus Sammy Guevara for our main event at Double or Nothing.
I haven't found Lamar an agent yet. That dummy needs to find a fucking agent at some point. Hurting himself so badly. So real quick, I want to kind of touch on some of the commentary with MJF on commentary tonight. Really good stuff. 2 things that I wanted to share. Number one, Tony Schiavone says that MJF is just manipulating the system to get by. And MJF says, Tony, you've been manipulating the system for decades to get by. And Taz was like, holy crap, that's a shoot. And then MJF talking to Taz, and Taz says like, yeah, I got my neck broke years back. And MJF's like, who did that? And he's like, Steve Blackman. He's like, I hate that guy.
I thought he said Dean Malenko, and he was like, in this very building, actually.
I thought he said Steve Blackman. Maybe I didn't hear it right. I thought he said Steve
I could
Blackman.
be wrong. I think he said Dean Malenko, and he was like, and it was actually in this building.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I swore he said Steve Blackman. If not, I don't know what I heard then.
Yeah.
I think he said it about both of them, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, no, it was great. Love the ending of this match.
Yeah. And Tony Schiavone, as MJF is celebrating that he got his wish of Sammy Guevara versus MJF for the championship, Tony Schiavone says, actually, Tony Khan is telling me that there will be a tag match between Jungle Boy and Darby versus MJF and Sammy. And if Jungle Boy and Darby win the match, it will become a 4-way dance for the championship. I'm okay with how we got here. I'm not too keen on the tag match there. I think we could have just gone right away right here and said, nah, we're doing this a 4-way now. You stepped your foot in too far, MJF. Now it's going to be a 4-way, you know?
I disagree.
Okay.
I think that, I mean, it's like we said a few weeks back when people were like, wait, why are they doing this tournament? I thought they were all working on their wins. And it's like, well, if you do it that way, eventually they're going to have to face each other, and then you can't do the 4-way. And I think that the way that they're doing it is great because at the end of the day, like, Tony Khan wants the baby faces to earn the match. So that's why they're going to have the tag match. But also you need to establish that Sammy is not going to be on MJF's side, that he was going to work him. He was just doing it for the paycheck. So that's why you're going to see next week, Sammy's probably going to cost MJF the match intentionally, or he's not going to back MJF up when all is said and done.
Okay.
Or they keep the ruse going until the pay-per-view, in which case then Sammy reveals that, like, I'm not laying down for you, you idiot. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. All right. Next up, we had MJF and Sammy Guevara in the back, pissed off. They were heading towards MJF's limo, and essentially MJF goes to get in. Sammy's following him, and he says, whoa, Sammy, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm coming with you. And he says, no, the car's full. I'm sorry. And the cameraman purposely goes right into the car and shows that it's completely empty. That was hilarious. And he speeds off, leaving Sammy behind. Now, this wasn't too smart considering Sammy's going to be his tag partner.
So a few things to note. Number one, I really loved the way that it was shot. It was really awesome to do the panning shot that they're walking with MJF and Sammy. Number two, and this is just a personal thing, I think that the bidding war of 2024 thing is going to run its course because of how Cody is a geek and how he was booked. I think Cody not winning at Mania really makes this whole, like, I'm going to go to the Fed thing. I don't think it works as well as it did before WrestleMania, because he said that, and I'm like, I mean, you could go. You saw what happened to your boy.
Yeah, go main event night 4 of Extravaganza and lose.
Extravaganza. So I mean, it was like that's just a nitpick, but it definitely lost its value for me. In terms of heat, because now it's like, well, now you just sound like a clown. Like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I guess he also implies that he's going to take the belt with him now. So I guess that's kind of the one-upsman of it. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take this belt with me. Which we've always discussed is going to be the issue. It's going to be like, once we get to like September, it's going to be like, oh shit, somebody's got to take this belt off of him because he's going to leave without it or with it.
Yeah.
And then,
And
yeah,
I
think of the limo being full line. Limo's full, bud.
Yeah. And we got to get rid of the Burberry belt once. Oh, geez. Got a cat now. We got to get rid of the Burberry belt eventually. Do you think they'll change the actual design of the belt? Do you think they'll just go back to the regular?
They're going to go back to the regular design. I mean, the way MJF discarded it and threw it down, I already see the pop coming where whoever it is, probably Hangman, pulls the belt out of like, he's like, this is the belt. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
I can see it in my head now. I can see it. I can vision the pop. It's coming.
All right. Next up, we had Adam Cole coming out to the ring, and he calls out Chris Jericho.
I thought that this was great in the sense that it was no gimmick. It was all business. He came out. He didn't do the boom. He didn't do anything like that. Came out.
Yeah, you're right.
It was great.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even notice he didn't do the boom. He just came straight to the ring and said, I got nothing to say. Jericho, get your ass out here. When Jericho didn't show up, he said, I'm going to come out and find you. But all of a sudden, a video package started rolling of Jericho talking to him. And he essentially says, you know, I'm not coming out there, but my boys are. And the JAS shows up to beat him down. Orange Cassidy and Bandido come out for the save, but they're still outnumbered, 4-3 at that point. And man, I was not expecting this. I was shouting Kyle O'Reilly again. I keep every single time Adam Cole is in trouble, I'm shouting Kyle O'Reilly at my TV. But Roderick Strong comes out with The End of Heartbreak by Killswitch Engage, if you're a rock fan by any chance. That is one of my favorite songs of all time. And oh my God, I couldn't believe that he had this for his entrance music. Roderick Strong, who is still on the NXT roster page, by the way, comes out for the save. And the crowd fucking goes nuts. I went nuts. I couldn't believe this shit. I loved it.
Yeah, I was freaking out. So, I mean, number one, when the JS come out and they're attacking Cole, I'm like, oh, it's 4-on-1. That really lines up in a way that could be a certain way. But I literally said out loud to myself, I was like, oh, but Roderick Strong is still under contract, so it'll probably just be like Kyle O'Reilly or something. But so then Orange Cassidy and Bandido come out, and I'm like, okay, it really is going to be Kyle O'Reilly then. Like, all right, this is it. And all of a sudden, the music hits. I'm like, I don't know whose music this is. I was like, wait a second. And then I saw the SRS, and it's really just the R in front of a big S. And for some reason, my mind was like, what is Sean Ross Sapp doing here?
So I'm pretty sure he's actually married to Marina Shafir.
He is Roderick Strong.
So yeah, we got another couple meeting back up in AEW. I like this. So
Yeah, so I think it's Roderick Strong. Huge pop. Man, what a fumble by WWE. Not in a sense of like, if you don't want him, that's fine. But you mean to tell me that that he got his release granted, and they themselves didn't say a word about it? Like,
Dude.
there was nobody said anything, and that's what made it such a great surprise, because it's like it would be one thing if he got his release, because then we'd be like, oh well, we'll probably see him in AEW imminently, right? And it's just like,
yo,
and
what if this dude is my hero? And he told the Fed, like, yo, no, I'll still work with you guys without a contract. We'll figure something out. So they were like, cool. And they just left him on the roster when he really was just like, peace.
also, I'll say this. So following coming from Fightful Select, Roderick Strong debuted for AEW in a shocker after leaving WWE. Strong showed up on the April 26th Dynamite, helping Undisputed Era ally Adam Cole. Strong has been off WWE TV for months, and WWE had been dead silent about his status with the company. The last we'd heard, there was discussion about pitching the idea of having him coach through the remainder of his deal, though we don't know if that pitch ever made it to him directly. Strong re-signed with the company in 2021, and the company was set to make him a focal point of the revamped NXT Cruiserweight division, in which they had big plans to enhance. However, when Triple H fell out of power with the brand because he lost the Wednesday Night War like a fucking loser, those plans changed. Much of the same happened with the Diamond Mine stable that he headed up. Originally, it was to include I don't know who these people are. Oh, Marina Shafir was going to be there too, but both were released by the company. Instead, the team changed significantly with Stokely Hathaway, yada yada. In 2022, Roderick Strong asked for his release, in which Fightful was told it was initially rejected. However, those that they spoke to in WWE say that they believe his deal was to run into next year, though that's hardly been confirmed. Recently, 2K was told to exclude Roderick Strong from the 2K game. WWE talent that Fightful had spoke to had not been given an update by the company, and they'd simply been told he'd not been in the Performance Center for quite some time. About the only update that Fightful had from those close to him of late was that he was doing well physically and cleared to wrestle. AEW talent that the Fightful spoke to were pleasantly surprised, as Strong is well liked by most in the industry.
So this is the second guy from the Undisputed Era that they completely just fumbled a contract. They forgot about Adam Cole's contract, remember? Ed just posted that in chat.
They did, but I don't know. According to what Fightful was saying, they think that his contract was going to go up next year, so that means he was granted a release.
That would be cool if they actually granted their release.
Yeah, well, initially they said no, and now apparently they said yes. So I don't know. It's a really weird thing by them to not say it, because that is something they would do, is that they would make it known that he was released. But they didn't, and he debuted, and it was insane.
He looked good too. I got to say that. He definitely looked good. So I am interested to see Roderick Strong in AEW.
Look, they're gonna get Kyle O'Reilly back, and then look, I'm just gonna say it. If you have those three guys, you might as well bring Bobby Fish back. If you're gonna have all four, if you have the opportunity. It made sense when it was just the three of them without Strong, where it was like, all right, well, Bobby Fish was kind of being a little bit of a twat anyway, so okay, we can let him go. And then he went to Impact.
I love that word. And
he got no reaction from the fans there. But yeah, if you have all three guys in place, which at that point you do, I would just bring Bobby Fish back. It's fine.
Yeah, you know what? I actually didn't think about that. I was kind of just thinking that Bobby was still kind of being a turd over there. But yeah, I actually agree. I think now that you got everyone, I think you can bring him back.
You might as well.
Yeah, not a bad idea. All right, next up we had QTV, and Big Willie Hobbs was pissed off here. He was not happy. He put QT Marshall up against the wall and basically said, you need to fix this. And QT Marshall says, it's time for plan B. Now, Hobbs had walked off here, so Hobbs was technically gone. What do you think QT means by plan B?
I mean, obviously, Plan B sounds like bringing someone else in. Um, I don't know. I don't know what it means exactly. It's the second faction right now that comes to mind where there's some sort of like, hey, like the best is yet to come kind of tease. Because the Mogul Embassy have done the same thing where Swerve and Prince Nana have said like, hey, like we're not even all here yet. There's someone else coming.
Yeah.
So now you have QT doing this Plan B thing. Like I gotta wonder. I don't know. Obviously the two aren't connected, but it's just definitely something. Definitely something that comes to mind.
It makes me think that they're talking about Plan B, like getting somebody other than Hobbs on their side. So like finding another big guy, maybe. I don't know. It seems like they might be turning on Hobbs.
I don't think it's that. I mean, QT say that he's. I mean, I guess he's a heel, so he's like, oh, he's a man of his word. And QT the God has never steered me wrong personally, so I'm not going to sit here and slander his good name. So
Ed says it could be the international title that he's going to try to secure for him. Plan B would be the next title. Okay, that's a good. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know if you want to devalue the title though, being like this is Plan B.
Yeah, see, I agree with that. I don't know if that's the right way to do it.
And I wouldn't want Hobbs to be the one to win it. That would be another. Isn't that another American guy that would be winning it? You got to have somebody international winning this next.
I don't necessarily think that needs to be the case, but I understand your sentiment.
Yeah. All right. Next up was our TBS championship, Taya Valkrie versus Jade Cargil. In her 56th match here, Jade was 55-0 to start this match. Jade Cargill ripped a young fan's sign in half on the way to the ring, and that fan looked absolutely shocked. Like, what on earth? Like, that shit was hilarious if you didn't see it. But I do have to say this match was a little bit underwhelming. I was expecting this to be a lot better. They just I don't know if the chemistry wasn't there or if I don't know what it was. But Jade hit an awesome looking code red. I hadn't seen that from Jade before, so that was pretty cool. She got a 2 count on that. Taya Valkyrie went for the Jaded multiple times, and the ref had to yell at her every time, "You can't do that, you can't do that." And then she went to do it again, and when she hesitated, Jade rolled her up and got the finish. 1, 2, 3. The most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. I get it. I'm not sure I was into the finish here, though, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that at the end of the day, I'm just glad that the outcome was the outcome. I don't think Taya was the one that should have beaten Jade. So I'm
after
okay
seeing
with
that, I agree.
even before that, I don't think Taya should have been the one. I didn't think that it made a lot of sense. I know who does make sense.
Oh, 100%. She's on her way back. She's got to be.
Yes. But no, I mean, I thought that this match was also just kind of like it was okay. It was okay. It was kind of a dumb babyface booking thing where like she looked like a geek because like you said she kept. It's one thing when you're kind of in the moment to like, oh, she went for the Jaded or like whatever the road to Valhalla or whatever. And it makes sense for like in the moment to do it once, but if you're doing it more than once, it's like all right. At this point, you're just being dumb. So that was definitely something. And then I thought the match was fine. I thought it should have been better than what it was, but it was okay. At the end of the day, the finish was the finish, and it made sense. It also just made Taya look dumb for her to try to do it to Aubrey at the end of the match. It was like because it wasn't even a heel turn. It was just kind of like you tried and then you didn't do it, and I'm like
you're all mad. Yeah,
you're like you mad, bro? Like I don't know. It just the vibe was off on it, so I wasn't really a fan.
I think it would have been actually better if she did hit Aubrey with the Jaded, and then the crowd would have popped and she could have turned heel here, and it would have been freaking great. But her just picking her up and not doing it, and security, like, 30 security guards, or I'm sorry, not security, but a whole bunch of refs jumping in the ring to stop her like she was Wardlow or something. I don't know. I just wasn't into that. I think she should have actually hit the Jaded, and that should have been that. And I think that would have been a great heel turn.
I agree. Again, I think this was kind of a swing and a miss, but at the end of the day, the end point is what it was, and that's for the best.
Yeah. hopefully Statlander will return soon. I am hearing rumors that she is ready to go, and I think that's what we've been waiting for. So we definitely need to pull the trigger on that. So. All right, next up we had Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker with a pretty nice promo video package on the Outsiders. This was, it was decent. It was what it needed to be. Moved the storyline forward a little bit. The same thing with the next segment of Jay White and Juice with their promo on Ricky Starks. Same thing, nice promo by those dudes, moved them forward. But I gotta say with this Juice and Jay White thing, I love these dudes together, and I love this Bullet Club Gold with the new, put up the guns instead of the Too Sweet symbol. I'm loving the change. It's almost like Bullet Club is finally evolving a little bit. You know what I mean? Because, Bullet Club's been around for a long time. I don't want to say it's stale, but the current roster of Bullet Club's not the greatest of all time, So I kind of like this. It's like an evolved version of Bullet Club.
I'm enjoying what Bullet Club's doing right now in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think Clark Connors is a good fit, and I like the sentiment from David Finlay that, he said it at the Collision in Philadelphia, where he's like, I'm going to be the first leader of Bullet Club that doesn't get got by Bullet Club. He's like, all the other leaders before me, got Jay White, et cetera, et cetera. He goes down the list, and he's like, they all got by like the Achilles heel of the leader of the Bullet Club has always been Bullet Club. That's not going to happen with me. I'm going to get rid of the trash. It was really good. But I don't know. See, I like that the Bullet Club is kind of, and it's earned the right to kind of go and be this larger entity. It would be, if WCW had never folded, it would be what the NWO should have been in today's wrestling world.
Yeah.
In a sense that, like, it transcends. It's too big to be contained. So it makes sense that there's a Bullet Club faction in Impact and in New Japan and in AEW. Like, it just makes sense to me. But that's just me. I also prefer the Too Sweet though. So I mean, they could do the Bullet Club Gold, but I'm still gonna Too Sweet when they come out. That's just me.
Gotcha. I think we're gonna get Bullet Club versus Bullet Club at Forbidden Door. I think that's where we're heading.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect Jay White versus David Finlay. So yeah, I think you're correct on that.
I'm gonna buy like 4 Bullet Club shirts. All right, next up we had Bryan Danielson making his way out to commentary for the Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita versus the Butcher and the Blade. This match kicked so much ass. Danielson being on commentary was amazing for this because it kept it in the back of your mind of like, when are the Blackpool Combat Club showing up here? Did you catch the line where Danielson said that the Elite are a cancer to AEW?
I did.
That was another reference, obviously, because that is what Jericho said about CM Punk. I am certain Danielson is going to be on the Saturday show with Punk now.
Look, man, all I'm going to say is I'm not allowed to say things apparently because tinfoil hat Rome, one track mind, No, man, it's just they say these things on purpose. They don't do it for no reason. Like they have, like, they're smart and they get to tell these stories, and there's a reason for it. Like Danielson sat down at commentary and you know what he said to Excalibur? He said, "Hello, man in the mask." Like, hello. Like, they do these things because they know that people pay attention to these things. They're going to do the Regal callback. They're going to do the tease of CM Punk because CM Punk's coming back. It's like, I think that, Ed, I think you're not giving them enough credit. I think you're like, I don't know. I think you're not giving them enough credit as storytellers. And I would say you should probably put some respect on the name of the performers in this company and the booker.
But yeah, this match, man, this match was so good. Kenny Omega with a huge hot tag to Takeshita. Obviously Penelope and Kip were out there casting distraction. There was one point where Danielson asked Taz, who would you rather hook train with, the Elite or the Blackpool Combat Club? And Taz said, well, the Blackpool Combat Club, obviously. I thought that was a pretty funny one there. Takeshita hits that big blue thunder bomb. Big power drive knee to the Butcher, picks up the 1-2-3. Danielson gets on the mic. We had about 4 minutes left here at the end, and he cuts a promo on Kenny, calling him an amateur and saying Takeshita should join and train with the Blackpool Combat Club. And that's when everybody attacks from behind. Moxley and Claudio and Wheeler Yuta beat down Kenny Omega. They kind of left Takeshita alone there.
What the hell?
And
So-
what's up?
So real quick, not wrestling related, but it sounds funny. Ed shared it in the Discord. So Wolves guard Anthony Edwards cited for assault after their Game 5 loss. He allegedly swung a folding chair and injured 2 female employees following the team's series-ending loss to the Nuggets yesterday.
Sounds like he just grabbed a chair and threw it across the room and
I
smacked
think
somebody in the head.
these basketball players want to be wrestlers. You got Draymond Green stomping a mud hole. You got Anthony Edwards steel chairs.
Yeah, just like CM Punk, Draymond Green did nothing wrong. That's all I gotta say.
I have no thoughts on that. By the way,
Yeah.
I didn't even see it. I don't even care. So
I mean, the dude grabbed his leg, so he stepped on him. It was just kind of how, whatever.
I mean, I'll say what I did see was, and this is about the Sixers. I'm not a basketball guy. I hope the Sixers do well, but they're not. It's not my thing. But people getting upset about Joel Embiid when the one player on the it's the Knicks, right? Or was it the Nets? It's the Nets. The Nets like stepped over him and he like pushed them away. Like people were like, "Oh, he should be suspended." I'm like, "What are you talking about? He stepped over him. You shouldn't let people step over you like that. That's not cool." Anyways, sorry, side tangent.
Oh, you're good. So Danielson busts out the screwdriver again and tells Moxley to finish the job, or finish the story, if you will. And as he's about to finish the job, the Bucks show up. They make the save on Kenny Omega. Kenny hits the Snapdragon to Mox, and Kenny gets the screwdriver. And just as Kenny is about to finish the job on Moxley, Takeshita jumps in the ring and it says, no, we can't do this. You can't do this. Causing everybody to get beat down by the Blackpool Combat Club. And actually, Takeshita is the one who winds up taking the screwdriver to the head. And man, did Moxley give it to him. He hit him probably 3 or 4 times right in the forehead with that freaking screwdriver. And we finished off Dynamite going off air with Takeshita laying on the mat bleeding. Crowd booing. I thought this was an excellent finish to the episode here. I can't wait to see where this continues.
So, I mean, number one, excellent storytelling. But Jeff, there's something I want you to think about with this, with the ending of the show, right? So Takeshita, as you said, busted open with a screwdriver, bleeding very badly. Looked great, right? So, do you remember what is the main criteria to get into the Blackpool Combat Club?
Absolutely. You got to bleed with them.
Okay, well, just keep that in mind. That's all I'm gonna say. Ed's probably like, "That's you're looking too much into it, man. It's not that deep." Like, yeah, man. All right, that's
The
fine.
post match was better than the match. I mean, the match was great, so that's a great compliment there.
I thought the
Ed.
match was
Absolutely.
good. I thought the match was good. It's my same complaint with I think Ed said this as well, and I agree with him in the Discord. I think Butcher kind of couldn't keep up with the other guys in the match. I don't think it's a style that's very very flattering to his style. I think it's a little bit more of a slow, brutish powerhouse. He doesn't have a lot of speed to him. So when you have a bunch of these other guys who are the faster workhorse kind of guys, it doesn't always work. And I think you saw that tonight. It was a good match. Like, I didn't hate it. It was fun. I was fine with it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I would agree with Ed that the post-match storyline, the storyline here is way better than the match was. The match was fine. Storyline was phenomenal. So a lot of things. They did not initially attack Takeshita. They just pushed him out of the ring. And then Takeshita goes in and tells him not to hit Mox. And then, he's conflicted because at this point in time, Don Callis has not told him to turn on the Elite yet. So he's like, what am I doing right now? I don't even know. But I'm just saying, it's great storytelling, and we are slowly building up to Kota Ibushi and then to Hangman. And yeah, it's really good. A lot of people were pointing out that Takeshita wore blue and gold tonight, which is Ibushi's colors. But again, can't say that because certain people think that it ain't that deep. So we can just forget about that as well. I'm sure it was just a coincidence. You know, but yeah.
I thought this was a decent episode. Like we said at the beginning, it was more so moving some story along, and a lot of things were about storyline moving forward. It was a decent episode of Dynamite here tonight. Ed and Coog saying blood in, blood out. Yeah. It's funny you say that, Coog. Vatos Locos. So where I grew up outside of Vegas in a small town called Pahrump, there was a bunch of dudes who thought they were Vatos Locos and they were going around claiming it. And the real Vatos Locos found out about it and showed up and set them straight. It was pretty funny. They literally showed up to our high school at lunchtime and they were like, "Where are those dudes that claim Vatos Locos?" And everybody was just like, "Over there."
Yeah, so I was gonna say something and I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. But while you're trying to remember that, do you happen to have our Rampage card ready to go?
Do. Let's see here. Just give me a second as I pull it up.
You should have seen it, Coog. It was one of the most glorious things I've ever seen.
So just a reminder, Rampage this week is on at an extremely crazy time of Friday afternoon at 5:30. Ironically enough, this is a pretty good episode of Rampage too. Good idea by them not to compete with the draft. But anyways, first up, Ricky Starks and Sean Spears will be taking on Jay White and Juice Robinson. Naturally Limitless, which is Dustin and Keith Lee, will be in action. We will hear from the Outcasts. Anna J.A.S. will be taking on Ashley D'Amboise, which rumors is that she signed this past week with AEW, which wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of graphic that night.
I love D'Amboise. She good.
Yeah, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass will address the people. And we will also be getting Cash Wheeler versus Jay Lethal. Next week on Dynamite, we have the Four Pillars tag match. MJF and Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin, and Jack Perry. We have an 8-man tag match. Orange Cassidy, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Bandido versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. And it's fine. It's fine. And more matches will be announced on Rampage this Friday.
Nice. Can't wait for that one at 5:30. I don't know what we're gonna do for that yet. We'll figure it out.
I don't know, because I work 3 to midnight Friday and Saturday.
Can't even do a watch along because I work until 8.
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe we'll just have to do a Saturday night Rampage review.
I mean, if you're willing to stay up, I can do it like around 12:30 when I get home.
We'll see. We'll figure out what we're gonna do. That actually doesn't sound like a horrible idea.
Okay.
I can go out to eat at the Texas Roadhouse or something, get some nice steak dinner, then come home and do that. All right. All right. Well, that does it for the episode here tonight. You got anything else you wanted to go over? Do you remember what you were saying?
I don't remember what I was saying. I'll say it in the Discord, so join the Discord. However, as I open this show with an announcement of an invitation to the King's Court Invitational, we are also going to be ending the show with another invite. That's why I wanted to start the show, Jeff. I did not get to tell you before we went live because got to fill out the bracket and then give time, before Double or Nothing. And we're about a month away, so we do have to do an episode. So I am pleased to announce the second entrant into the King's Court Invitational is none other than the Coog. The Coog has been invited to the King's Court Invitational. Very excited, very, very excited. I'm trying to handpick some of the greatest competitors that we've seen, and the Coog has continued to be a shining beacon, a paradigm, if you will, of professional wrestling knowledge, especially outside of the United States. So I would expect him to do quite well in the middle rounds of the tournament and later rounds. But yes, so Coog, congratulations. You joined Jeffrey Vegas as the 2 of the 8 competitors announced for the King's Court Invitational.
Excellent, excellent. Congratulations, Coog. Can't wait to meet up with you somewhere on the bracket. We shall see.
I'm excited, man. Look, so here's the thing. Like, while I love being the champion, I love booking. I'm a good booker. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't want to toot my own horn because I'm going to sound conceited, but I'm very excited for this tournament. I feel like Tony Khan was paying attention, and now all of a sudden you got like tournaments all over AEW after I announced the tournament. I'm just saying, great minds think alike. Very, very excited to see where yes, the Coug is all BTP. Yeah, so I'm very excited, and like I said, expect 2 announcements per show. And then the show following, we will have the bracket.
All right.
So Jeff, you have to get on this with making some nice graphics.
I will for sure. Last thing before we go, if you got the stream up here, I wanted to show you this awesome new hat that I picked up from like an artist. He's called like A-H. I don't know what his real name is.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, look at this Fanatics hat. This is so dope. So if you're not aware, we're here in Philadelphia. Rome is, I believe, born and raised, right?
So not born, but my family. So my parents were from here, and then they moved to Florida, and I was technically born in Florida, but
Okay.
they moved back when I was like 5 months old. So like, I've lived here my whole life.
Yeah, basically the same thing. So yeah, this is the Philly Fanatic, the Philadelphia Phillies mascot, and this hat is just so cool.
I almost looked away when you showed it because I didn't see it yet.
I'm showing it again here. You should see it.
Because I do want to see it.
It looks a little orange on the pod here. Maybe that's because of the filters I got going, but it is bright red. The hat is red.
Let's see.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us here tonight. We had the Coog, we had Ed, we had the coach, we had Sabak. Thank you guys all very much for hanging out with us here. Wonder where Queen Nat's been. She hangs out in Discord the whole time. No worries, but we will catch you guys on the next show. You want to go ahead and close us out, sir?
Absolutely. By the way, yeah, that hat looks mad orange. That does not look
It's really weird.
That looks completely orange.
I'm wondering if it's the lighting or something, but it's not. It is definitely red.
Well, it looks just like the switch cases behind me, which are also red. But
yes,
they're
those do look orange to me. Okay.
Yeah, so that's probably what it is.
The same with FTR's jackets. Yep, makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways, this has been episode. Oh boy, Jeff, what episode? 138. Episode 138 of the Broken Tables podcast. If you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe on your way out. While you're at it, check out our other content. We do our AEW Dynamite reviews, Rampage reviews. We also talk about video games on Monday nights, usually in the Game Room podcast. Big news came out this week that Monday is going to be a big show. Looking forward to it. In the meantime, we'll figure out what we're going to do this weekend about the Rampage review. Like Jeff said, Saturday night seems like it makes the most sense. But until next time, we will catch you guys later.
Right on, everybody. Until then, top guys out.